Good evening. Tonight I'd like to talk a little bit about Elijah. For this coming Sunday, we have a passage from 1 Kings chapter 19, in which we hear a very famous story about Elijah and how God was not heard or did not come to Elijah in the wind or the lightning or the earthquake, but in the still small voice. And I'd like to just give some background before we get to that text, which we'll do another time. But um, Elijah has just done battle with the prophets of Baal or Baal, and he has succeeded far beyond his wildest expectations. And as a result, he thinks the battle is over and he can be home free now. However, in spite of Ahab, the king's reluctance to punish Elijah for this, Ahab goes home and tells the queen, Jezebel, about what has happened to the prophets of Baal, whom she supported. And she sends word to Elijah that his life is on the line because of this. So Elijah is filled with fear and dread, and he becomes very depressed. So let's read now from 1 Kings chapter 19, the story that fills us in with some of the details. Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done and how he had killed all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah saying, "So may the gods do to me, and more also, if I do not make your life like the life of one of them by this time tomorrow." Then Elijah was afraid. He got up and fled for his life and came to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah. He left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a solitary broom tree. He asked that he might die. "It is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am no better than my ancestors." Then he lay down under the broom tree and fell asleep. Suddenly an angel touched him and said to him, "Get up and eat." He looked, and there at his head was a cake baked on hot stones and a jar of water. He ate and drank and lay down again. The angel of the Lord came a second time, touched him, and said, "Get up and eat, otherwise the journey will be too much for you." He got up and ate and drank. Then he went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mount of God. At that place he came to a cave and spent the night there. In this vignette about the life of Elijah, we're given a real insight into some simple, basic things. One, he is depressed. He's ready to throw in the towel. He has had enough, and he's fearing for his very life. And he tells God, "I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm through. Go ahead and take my life, God. This is just too much for me. Too much pressure. I can't take it anymore." And then he falls asleep under the broom tree. And by God's divine provision, he wakes to find that there are hot cakes and water for him. And these must have been really special cakes. And then he goes to sleep again. And when he wakes up, again, an angel appears and provides the food and drink for him. And then said, "Get up and eat, otherwise the journey will be too much for you." And he ate again, and he went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the Mount of God. You may remember that Horeb is another name for Mount Sinai, the mountain that Moses received the 10 Commandments upon. There are some similarities between the story of Elijah and the story of Moses. They're both mighty prophets. They both come to a point in their ministry or their life where they're ready to throw in the towel, maybe more than once. And both of them are called to provide leadership to the people. Also, God provides a divine provision, the manna and quail in the wilderness of Sinai for the Israelites and Moses, and the hot cakes and water for Elijah. As I think about this, it occurred to me that sometimes what we really need in life, when we're maybe discouraged, we're struggling, we're ready to throw in the towel, is rest. A few nights good sleep sometimes can work miracles. We often underestimate the importance of sleeping for our functioning as people, for our mental acuity, for our vitality, for our ability to concentrate and do our jobs or to parent. All of us know what it's like if we've had kids to be short on sleep, and the kids maybe are acting up and our tempers can get very short. Whereas if we're rested, it can be a whole different ball game. Good nutrition is also so important. Not only in a pandemic are these important, sleep and nutritious food, but anytime in life. We function better and we can overcome a lot of things simply by the basics that God has given us. Sleep, good nutrition, rest, taking care of our bodies and our minds and our spirits. So this is the story that precedes the story of Elijah that will be coming up this Sunday. And I think it's a great little story. He went on the strength of that food, 40 days and 40 nights. The Israelites, 40 years in the wilderness. So kind of takes us back to that story. Please pray with me. Gracious God, in your generosity, grant what we need when we need it forever. In Christ's name, amen. Good night, everyone.